Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Welcome back. Hope you guys like jazz. Hope you guys are fans of jazz because the Yankees just picked up Jazz Chisholm Jr. If you can hear my cat is excited. Let's take a look at his StatCast real quick. Word on the street is that the Yankees are sending 3 prospects. I have not seen the names of the prospects yet, but we are going to dig into it in just a minute. ENFC says, is Tanner Scott part of the deal? Not as far as I know. I know about as much as you guys right now. This trade just broke. As you can see, Jazz Chisholm is he's an excellent base runner. The base running value is in the 99th percentile, batting run value in the 72nd percentile, fielding run value in the 68th percentile. He's been playing center field. He can also play some second base. It wouldn't shock me if he plays center field for the next few days instead of Trent Grisham. But there's the non-zero chance that Gleyber Torres also gets traded here in the near future. Welcome back to everybody who is joining. I'm going to try and dig into some information, see if we can find out which prospects are going back, and then I'll give you my detailed analysis on that. It sounds as if there are 3 prospects, so we'll find out pretty much in short order who they are. Okay, so one of them is Agustin Ramirez. So Agustin Ramirez, for the Marlins fans joining us, is a catcher with massive, massive power, generational power. He put up enormous numbers the last couple of years in the minor leagues. I've heard that his defense is not super strong behind the plate, possibly got a future as a DH, possibly a first baseman. So that's one. You would think that we're not going to send any other humongous prospects as part of that, but certainly stinks to give up a big prospect, but you got to give up quality to get quality, and he is certainly that. YCCM says, you were right, a trade would happen when you went to the movies. So here's the deal. I knew when I bought my tickets for Deadpool and Wolverine about a month ago that it was July 27th and it was going to be a few days before the trade deadline, and it was an afternoon movie, and I said, you know what, the second I sit down, there's going to be a trade. Luckily, it was actually on the drive home. My buddy Aiden texted me, and he sent me a tweet. Luckily, I was at a stoplight, and I was able to check it out, and it was the tweet that said the Yankees were deep in talks for Jazz Chisholm. And then a minute later, we got the news from Jeff Passan, which means it's pretty much the real deal. So, look, 3 prospects going the other way. Jazz, let's take a look at his career stats because, you know, he's a guy who's on MLB The Show, and, you know, he got a lot of hype, but he's never really put up humongous numbers. So we're going to pull up his stats real quick. Hang on, bear with me. How you guys feeling about the trade? Let me know in the chat. Let's go ahead and share the screen here. So far this season, 1.3 WAR. He's only hitting .249. He's got 13 home runs, 50 RBIs. He's got 22 stolen bases. As we go back and look through his career, he's a .246 career hitter, so he's pretty much right in line with what he's always been. Strikes out a ton, already 107 strikeouts this year. Struck out 118 times last year in just 97 games. Back in 2021, when he played 124 games, struck out 145 times. He's never had a ton of power either. 19 is his career high. He's just 26 years old, so presumably there's probably more power in there. Not a great on-base percentage guy, despite his great base running ability. .323, but that's a damn shot better than a lot of guys on this current Yankee team. So I'm amped up that the Yankees are finally doing something. Brian Cashman finally decided to get off his ass and try and fix this team. Wasky Polino says, Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm. That's going to be something I mess up a lot. I've already messed it up 2 times, but it is what it is. Christopher Urena says Jonathan India should be next. It really depends on what direction they want to go with Jazz Chisholm. Like, is he going to be the second baseman? If he is, you probably don't need Mr. India. If he's going to play center field, you do need India. But You got the Martian coming back here pretty soon. He had a base hit last night. He could be back in the Yankee lineup really within a week or 10 days. And once that happens, you don't need an outfielder, right? So I don't think you're going to get India also. Lounge Lizard says 22 steals, only 4 ground into double plays. And that's something the Yankees have had a huge problem with. Way too many double plays this year. Bill Peterfriend says, does this mean no Tanner Scott from the Marlins? So. It doesn't mean anything of the sort. There have been separate deals made with the same team over and over again over the years. It most likely means, hey, we had an agreement in principle to get Jazz Chisholm over here. Let's go ahead and get that done. And while Tanner Scott is still out there on the market and other teams are still competing, I'm sure the Yankees are going to stay in those conversations. But because the Yankees just made a deal with the Marlins are going to be familiar with the Yankees' minor league system, right? They've been scouting these guys. They've been looking at who they want back. And that might make a deal come together a little bit quicker. Let's go and take a look at Tanner Scott real quick. I'm going to pull him up on Baseball Reference, and I'm going to put his numbers up on Baseball Savant. So bear with me just a second. I don't think he's part of this deal. I have not seen anything to suggest it is, but I still believe the Yankees are interested. He's a shutdown closer. He has not allowed a run since, I believe, June 13th. So let's take a look at his StatCast numbers. They're obscene. They're just obscene. That should be illegal. So much red. As my buddy Aiden says, red is good, and he is near the tops in all of these categories. Average exit velocity, expected ERA, expected batting average, pitching run value, fastball run value. He's a 97-mile-an-hour guy, got a good slider, keeps the ball off the barrel, 78th percentile of that. He does walk some guys. He's only in the first percentile, so 99% of the league is better at avoiding walks than he is. And that's already a problem with the closer position, but I would gladly take Tanner Scott and his 1.18 ERA over cardiac Clay Holmes. As we look at Tanner Scott's numbers throughout the years, you can see that he's been a relief pitcher for his entire career. He has never made a start. He began with Baltimore. He was with Baltimore through 2021, and then with Miami the last 3 years. Last year he went 9-5 with a 2.31 ERA and 78 innings, 104 strikeouts. This year just 45 innings and 53 strikeouts, so he should be fresh. The whip is right around 1, which is what you want, and he was an all-star. So you hope that there's still a deal out there for him. I think the Yankees are still going to need to address the pitching. Look, there were some concerns about Jazz Chisholm, and I keep almost saying Chaz Chisholm. There were some concerns about whether or not he would fit in with the Yankees clubhouse, and I am ready to cast those aside. I am 100% ready to cast that aside. And here's why. The Yankees clubhouse is obviously not functional as it is because they keep losing. Perhaps you need somebody with a little bit of, panache, a little bit of excitability. And I think that, his energy could be right. Dan Teddy says, new leadoff hitter, I'd assume. Possibly. I mean, he doesn't do a lot for you in the on-base percentage, just in the 320s, but, gets on base, he can run. Honestly, he'd be a great bottom of the order hitter. I still think we need a real leadoff guy, a 350 on-base percentage guy who draws walks, and Jazz Chisholm doesn't walk all that much. So, we'll see. Keep the faith that the Yankees will do some more. Danny Velez says, LFG, Glaber is going to Seattle. I have not seen that yet. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if there are any more breaking news. So Glaber is in the lineup for tonight, which just got posted for Saturday Night Baseball. Glaber Torres is in the lineup hitting 5th. And Jazz Chisholm is not in the lineup yet. So we'll probably see him tomorrow. So, all right. That's pretty cool. Yanks definitely getting to work finally here at the trade deadline. Let's take some comments here. CTC card says, be patient. I think Scott is a-coming. We'll see. Richard C. wants Juan Soto at leadoff. I wouldn't hate it because at least he gets on base, and then you could put Aaron Judge in the more comfortable number 2 spot, but you still have the issue of who gives you protection behind Aaron Judge. You could go with Austin Wells in the number 3 spot. He's been heating up. He's been having much more patient at bats. He's been hitting the ball hard. Last night he had a base hit up the middle, and he hit a home run to right field. And then you got Giancarlo Stanton coming back Monday. He could slot into the cleanup spot. And then you've got lefty-righty to start the lineup. If you keep Gleyber Torres, he slots in at number 5. He's been swinging the bat a little bit better lately. And then you got lefty-righty, all the way through the 5 spot. So, actually, you know what? No, we would need to slip somebody in there in between Stanton and Torres. So maybe you put Ben Rice in the 5 spot, Volpe maybe, or Gleyber Torres in the 6th spot, and then you go with Chisholm in the 7th spot, and then whoever, between Volpe or Gleyber, whoever you want in the 8th spot. So, I mean, you've added a little bit of depth, right? And you've added another left-handed bat. So I like it. And I'm just thinking through this here. I'm just kind of, first reaction, I'm a little bit excited. I sound a little bit like the excited Southerner on those Adam Sandler cassettes from the 90s. But I'm super amped that the Yankees are finally getting in on the game. They're obviously going to be buyers. This should erase all doubts about that. So they're going to be buyers at the deadline. They're trying to go for it. Landon Thompson says, Doogie leading off. He did have a couple of hits last night in the leadoff spot, so don't hate it. Don't hate it. Alan Muntean says Chaz Chisholm. We're going to be hearing that a lot. Nicholas Termini says, when does Jazz make his debut? You know as much as I do on that. I mean, they haven't announced it. My guess would be tomorrow or the next day. The Yankees have one more game in Boston. I doubt they would send him to Boston just for the one game. My guess is he will meet them in Philadelphia. That would be my guess. So, Tommy C's Cat says, J.D. Davis as the cleanup. No, we'll pass on that. It's going to be a no from me, dog. Susan Menegas says, I'm glad that the Yankees are finally doing something. Rick Marrero says, who'd they give up? So far, all we know is Agustin Ramirez. And let's go ahead and take a look at Agustin Ramirez because he's been one of those prospects that I've really been following this year and a little bit last year, having a good year in the minor leagues. So far, in 335 at-bats, hitting .269 with 20 home runs, 69 RBIs, very nice, 18 stolen bases, so he can run a little bit for a catcher. Catchers hate it when you say that. And then he got promoted to AAA recently. Since being promoted, he got off to a really slow start, but he's hitting .224 with 4 home runs and 20 ribbies. He's been a little bit better than he was after his atrocious start at AAA. I believe he began like 1 for 17 or something like that, 2 for 8. He was pretty bad to start, but he's gotten better lately. And I wish him luck in Miami. I'm sure he'll do fantastic down there. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in the major leagues this season. So, to give up or to get quality, you got to give up quality. That's just baseball. That's just professional sports in general. So take a few more comments here. Junior Caroma says, can they DFA J.D. Davis already? My guess is they will to make room for Jazz Chisholm. They're going to need to make a roster spot. And barring any other moves, that's going to be the guy that gets dealt. That would be my guess. So, I mean, there's a chance that Chisholm could be your leadoff hitter. It's possible. I see him more as a bottom of the order kind of guy, bottom third of the order kind of guy. You don't run a lot in front of Judge and Soto anyway, right? I mean, you don't want to steal before your best 2 hitters and get thrown out. And he doesn't get thrown out that often, but still, you want to be somewhat tentative in front of those guys. Charlie Moore with the super chat says, just a meatball at you in tough times. We will get this to the end. Appreciate it, my friend. Appreciate it. RP says, go get Nathan Eovaldi. Nathan Eovaldi has some more money left on his contract. I don't think the Yankees are going to do it unless the Rangers were willing to eat that money. And the Rangers right now are kind of expected to go for it. They're not far out in the West. Now, I know they've gotten off to a slow start. They've had a lot of injuries, but they've got a shot to be in the playoffs. And I wouldn't give up if I were the Texas Rangers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, join me for the post-game show. I'm doing a 5 o'clock podcast on my other channel called The Dudes, and we're going to talk about Deadpool. So tune in for that. It'll also be live streaming on my X account or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And then post-game show tonight after the Yankee game. So tune in for that. And welcome to Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm, latest New York Yankee. I'll see you next time.